remember coming to the field and being overwhelmed by all the newness, but the fact that we had other missionaries there to help us was huge.
We had a team of support missionaries and teachers helping us transition into daily life in Papua New Guinea.
And it's just been a privilege to be able to be taught by them.
We've had lots of experienced missionaries around that we could ask questions and get really practical input from.
Kind of guiding us into the national culture and language.
It takes team.
It takes team.
E2 is a time of orientation on the field in PNG to help us prepare for our future ministry here.
E2 is the second phase of NTM's training. The first phase happens in your home country, Bible school and missions training, and then you come to the country where you're going to serve as a missionary and you learn the national culture and the national language. That's basically E2.
The objective of E2 is to prepare tribal church planting missionaries to learn the national language and culture, as well as learn techniques for church planting in Papua New Guinea.
The objectives of the E2 program are to learn the national culture and language of Papua New Guinea and to also become acquainted with the field itself, so visiting a couple different centers and just getting to know Papua New Guinea in general.
So the objectives for E2 are to become more Papua New Guinean and also learning the trade language of the country. We also go out to the different villages, get to know people, see how people think, see how people do things, learn about the government system, lots of things like that before we are ready to go into the bush.
It was helpful to experience the difficulties and challenges of learning a new language and a new culture in a more comfortable environment with missionaries who were right along with us the whole way.
E2 has equipped me to go into unreached people groups by introducing us to the culture to help us with the culture shock.
Our time in E2 has equipped us for church planting and unreached people groups by not only giving us the skills that we need to move around Papua New Guinea and to speak the language of the people, to learn the culture and the ways of life of the people, but also to focus on the church planting strategies and methodologies of Ethnos 360 here in PNG.
I think both of us were really impressed actually with the living conditions in E2. It's sort of a middle ground between what we're going to be expecting in the tribe and what we've been living in the UK.
We live in a gated center, and there are many villages around that center that we get to interact with a lot of the people group.
NCLA stands for National Culture and Language Acquisition.
National Culture and Language Acquisition.
National Culture and Language Acquisition.
So we're trying to learn not just how the people speak here, the language, but also what makes a Papua New Guinean man or woman think the way they do.
The hardest thing about E2 is to be able to get out into the surrounding tribes and talk to the women.
The hardest thing about E2 for our family, I think, was our kids' transition there, as in they didn't really sleep well, and also there was a lot of different sicknesses that I feel like our whole group of E2 had to deal with.
Balancing time between ministry, being out with the people, learning language, and time with the family.
The best thing about E2 for us was that we had a team of support missionaries that were there to teach us and walk us through daily life in Papua New Guinea, and that made our transition so much easier than if we were just dropped off and told good luck.
My biggest piece of advice for people considering coming here to the field of Papua New Guinea would be to not focus on all of the unknowns and try to figure out all of the little details, but to focus on maintaining your relationship with the Lord first and foremost, and then your relationship with your family and also your church back home, just so that you're able to maintain that when you're overseas.
No can worry too much, stop easy, now walk strong, and pass on.
I think the greatest need that we've become aware of is just the scale of the work that's to be done here. There are so many places where the church is not ready to stand on its own without missionaries yet. Other places where there is no church, no Bible translation at all. NTM PNG needs missionaries.
This year we've had 14 missionaries and their families come to the field, and next year we have 17 new missionaries with their families slotted to come to the field.
And we're so excited about that, to see the excitement as they come here and want to get into a tribe. But the reality is, here in Papua New Guinea, there are still literally hundreds of people groups that haven't had the gospel clearly presented in their own language. There are hundreds of people groups without a thriving church. There are literally dozens of unreached people groups who are begging for missionaries to come. And we could put all of the missionaries from last year and next year and still have so many that need reached. The biggest thing we truly need is more missionaries.